Well, New York is once again open for business, and Democratic Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney spoke with Yahoo Finance's Shauna Smith about New York getting back to normal, as nearly 70% of New York City adults have already received their first vaccination against COVID-19. That's a big part of why the state is once again open for business. Let's watch.
Many people are coming from out of town to be here. The restaurants are open. The businesses are open. I would say, Shauna, the main reason we're opening is that people are vaccinated. So it's safe to go to restaurants. It's safe to go into a store. I represent Madison Avenue, which is the capital of marketing, I would say, in the country. And one of the things I do every week, I sort of drive down Madison Avenue to see if the stores are closing or opening. Some of my favorite stores have closed, but many are opening. New ones are coming back. The city is, New York is resilient. The people are resilient. They're positive. It's quite a change.
You mentioned people being vaccinated, the vaccination rates, because New York City is certainly an example here. For the rest of the country, around 70% of residents have received at least one shot. That is certainly a massive step in the right direction, but that means that 30% of people still haven't gotten a vaccine. How do you reach those people, the people that still seem to be hesitant right now?
Well, we're working very, very hard, but I have the exact numbers. We didn't make the 70% goal of President Biden, and I congratulate him for setting these goals. 67% of New York adults have really gotten at least one. Over 60% are fully vaccinated. Over 9 million doses have been administered. And it has been a priority of mine, of the mayor, the governor, and the president to vaccinate that last 30%. We have everything, incentives, giving out tickets, doing all kinds of ways to do incentives. There now is a movement of young people defying their parents and going and being vaccinated when they're telling them not. We applaud that anyway to get people vaccinated. What we've done is something called pop-ups, where we will move a temporary vaccination site to an area that is underserved. We did that at Times Square for all the people in the entertainment business. We've done it in the meatpacking district. We've done it in all of the public housing developments to go right there where the people are. We are trying to get a vaccination center for Koreatown. We need to get their numbers up. So we make requests and work with community groups and then get the word out through flyers or telephone calls or word of mouth to continue to get people vaccinated.
A couple of weeks ago, Congresswoman, you announced the extension of tax credits to cover paid sick and family leave for businesses in your district. You also announced $11 million in federal funding for New York City Head Start programs. What other initiatives will you prioritize or do you think are necessary at this point in the recovery?
Well, the most important step was the Recovery Act, the American Recovery Act that we passed. It was $1.9 trillion, but it brought over $100 billion to New York City. And they had direct grants going to the mayor and the governor with discretionary, but there were a lot of direct grants directly to people, such as the $1,400 direct payment, the enhanced unemployment. We expanded it. New York has a lot of what we call gig workers. They're in entertainment, they're in artists. It's an artist city. In fashion, many people were out of work. So it covered for the first time so-called gig workers. We had direct grants going to the Mass Transit Association. Because we were the epicenter of the epicenter, we had tremendous losses, and the city was deeply in debt. This direct grant helped us get out so that we did not have layoffs. But I would say one of the biggest areas was education, certainly healthcare, and direct grants to people. In education, we were able to expand early childhood education to 3-year-olds throughout my entire district, and in fact, the entire city, which was terrific because many men and women had to quit their jobs to stay home and educate the children. Now 3-year-olds, not only is it great for the children, they say the best thing you can do is to get them into early education. It also allowed the parents to go back to work. So all of this American spirit and determination and resiliency of New Yorkers, everyone is out there working, but people need guidance. So I very much supported direct grants to governors and to mayors and county leaders to work in their areas, because they were the leaders that directed the way that we responded to this crisis. I will share with you that the biggest area of discontent, of conflict between Republicans and Democrats was over funding cities and states, which I found, I was mystified by it. But how are you going to respond to a crisis, coordinate your effort without the work of your leaders? And I was thrilled that through my committee, over $365 billion went through my committee, and I worked very hard to have it go directly to the leaders in areas so that they could coordinate their response.
And Congresswoman, speaking of the recovery here, what various businesses have done, what the healthcare community has done, what small businesses have done, but taking a step back and talking about the broader economy. And I know you spoke with or questioned Fed Chair Jay Powell last week, and you warned him about raising interest rates too soon, that's something that's on your mind, something that you are potentially worried about here at this stage in the recovery. I'm curious just to get your thoughts on the timing of that, just what you consider too soon and how significantly you think it could potentially slow down the recovery that we're seeing.
Well, hopefully they won't go forward with those rate increases. That'll slow the economy down. The comments of the Secretary of the Treasury, Janet Yellen, has also supported the fact that we shouldn't move too quickly. Number one, the crisis was different from anything we've experienced, and the Fed uses a certain basket of determination factors in expressing their concern for the economy. And I'm concerned that they're using that usual basket when it's not the same. Like the usual basket they might look at is the number of people going to restaurants. That's an indication of the economy. But people weren't going to restaurants because they were told not to because of health concerns. The restaurants were literally closed in New York City and other cities too. So not to look at that usual basket of concerns that they make these determinations to, because the COVID crisis was caused by a pandemic and slowed down the economy because of the pandemic. We are now out of that pandemic. And one of the reasons we're out of it is access to credit and lower interest rates that have helped our businesses to bounce back.